Maybe.
Auspicious start to the game.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the glorious sun-drenched sands of the Praia da Rocha here in Portimão, the jewel of the Algarve in Portugal. Delighted to be able to bring you mixed division action here. And a potential barnstormer on the docket for you. RFO, the Ray Flying Oysters from the Ile de Ré on the west coast of France take up Catchup from Graz in Austria. It's Benji Rees with you in the booth. Delighted to be joined by Ingeborg Kailage. I think the first time we've worked together since EYUC in 2017.
It has been a very long time, Benji. Let's not math that out.
Yeah, it makes me feel a little old, but I'm sure I will be renewed with youth and vigor watching these two sides go out there and battle. Both had slightly up and down weeks so far. RFO with a 4-4 record. Catchup had a little bit better go of things. They are 7-2. So potentially you think maybe Catchup going into this with more of a head of steam?
True, but also an extra game. 9 games to RFO's 8. So that might be a detriment to them in the latter stages of this game. Yeah, we all know how energy exhausting playing on the beach can be. Let's have a look at some key players to watch for either side. For Catchup Graz, there is Valentin Fischer, who will be a key distributor for them. 29 combined goals and assists, 20 assists, 9 goals. He can really carve a defense apart, Ingeborg. For sure, and putting a lot of experience to work. Fischer just returning from a stint on the Austrian Open team at the Australian World Championships earlier this summer.
Yeah, for RFO, I'd be wanting to keep an eye on Salome Rolle, will be a key cog to their success as well. She also has 20 assists to go with 5 goals. It's RFO in the red receiving and starting on offense, going left to right as we're looking at it. Voinesson going around to the aforementioned Rolle. Now Dorin zipping it nice and quickly on across the sand. A little bit of float on it, not a problem. They could not have wished to start the game in a cleaner fashion than that.
Beautiful offense by RFO to start, really putting their experience on the sand over there.
Certainly it helps when you can keep the disc moving quickly, and they play a lot of beach out on the west coast of France, and they are more than adept at dealing with these surfaces because, with all due respect to Austria, it's not exactly known for its beaches.
It is not known for its beaches. RFO also won the Women's Beach Championships in France earlier this year, so a lot of women from the team coming with that experience, and the men finished 6th. Actually, this year there was no mixed division at the championships, so they were less able to prepare for this tournament due to that.
Interesting. So maybe players making that little adjustment to playing from the gendered divisions into playing mixed. Ball's going to bounce and spin towards the back of the end zone where it stops. Excellent field position from an RFO perspective. Slightly perilous, certainly, for Catchup. Here's Fischer trying to spread it deep. Got the one-on-one matchup he wanted, and it drops right into Ertel's breadbasket. What a throw from Fischer.
Gorgeous offense by Catchup Graz. them also really being able to do what they wanted on the field. Even shorter offense than we just saw from RFO. Both teams so far just being able to do what they want at will.
It certainly feels a bit windier up here than it probably does down on the sand, but the wind has kind of changed direction throughout the course of the day. If you look at the flags in the back of the picture, it's currently blowing away from the camera toward that far sideline. So something that throwers will have to take into account when putting edge on those shots.
It's also a really irregular wind. Like, the wind is going quite quickly, and then there's these massive gusts in between as well that can definitely catch players unawares.
By the way, Catchup told us pre-game to give a little shout out to Jaimo back home. So hello, or hi, I guess. Catchup with the pull now. Again, trying to get these blades to roll in the sand, and that is also going to stop at the back of the end zone. Both teams pulling on point. Love to see it. This very loud catch-up sideline. You'll hear the constant chanting of hand block, foot block. It's no surprises what they're looking for. Wide open underneath, though, is Voinesson, not able to stop that one. Breaking towards the far side. Dished off back to Liron. That one always going to be tipped off the hand, and there wasn't enough space for De Meulemester to adjust. Holzner, rather than pick it up, no, he's going to pick it up himself at the second time of asking. Thought he wanted to walk away, but no. Takes it instead. Players a little bit of a clash downfield. Stall rising, so we're just going to go into the backfield. And the handlers just playing with one another at the moment. Good defense from the Flying Oysters to foist them all the way back to the end zone line. And with nothing going, well, let's just boost it as far as we can. Not really even in the same ballpark as Hildebrand.
It did seem to be what they were looking for, since the downfield offensive players from Catchup were static. They were not offering the handlers anything to do. So I do think, in a way, this might have been their set play. Pass it around a couple times with the handlers and then boost it to one of them as they cut deep, but just not panning out for them this time.
Yeah, the offense looked pretty stodgy. As no surprise to hear the catch-up sideline rev itself up again. Looking for the swing, finding it to Voinesson. Ismail Voinesson, just the right amount of edge and sit on that one past the bidding defender. Can they transition into their red zone offense? Oh, the little lefty to squeeze it past the mark and into the end zone for the RFO score.
That looked a lot better the second time of asking.
Offense is on top early in this one, and we mentioned that there is a bit of wind and it can swell and it can vary, but certainly compared to the conditions we've had over the past couple of days, you will certainly feel like offense should have the advantage here. It was a good bid, but did come up a little bit short, and Leron staying calm, staying patient outside the end zone, and then finding that little dish through towards the far side, punching it in to Coralie Fouquet.
Fouquet might be the most experienced person on this field in terms of where she has had the opportunity to play as a World Games player.
Oh, I thought you were talking about CFC, but no. I guess the World Games is kind of a big deal as well.
I mean, beach might be a different story, but grass, I do believe World Games is the place.
Yeah, you know what? I'll live with that, yeah. The backhand now. Kleinhappel spreads it around. Fischer with a big pump fake wants to lead into the end zone, and the layout just to make sure with a little bit of polish on the end of it from Sven Kleinhappel. Catchup's O-line perfect on their first two possessions.
No flaws to be found so far on the Catchup grass offense, indeed. They're doing really very well. The only hiccup has been with RFO so far.
Utilising the width of the field here, and they've got that strike cut set up nice and early, slashing with the en passant cut down the line, and then laying out into the end zone. Just, you know, you could argue that it was just to make sure. You could argue that maybe it was just to have a little bit of flair on the end of it. There is something about a layout that does seem to generate a bit more energy and excitement with a score.
I do think it's one of my favorite things about beach, that there are a lot more layouts left and right.
Certainly, I don't think any fan anywhere has ever said, you know what Ultimate needs? It needs fewer layouts. It's the one thing that's ruining the game. People making these ludicrous bids. Here's the pull from Catchup. Ole chooses to let drop and field from the floor. There's Fouquet in space on the far sideline. Voinesson wants it in the middle and gets it. Now the little toss underneath to Dorin. Leron again. Catchup, content to take away the deep option, see if the Oysters can slice and dice their way through. So far they've been successful in getting to the red zone. Fouquet plants, and the dump is offline. Catchup rewarded then for protecting the nest, forcing the long way round and coaxing the error. Unfortunately, they're going to get it right back though. Pansy was in a good position, the disc just refused to stick. Rollet. Back to Liron. Collecting the break around is Fouquet. And clearly just trying to stay disciplined with that red zone offense. Don't want to get too much cluttering, but a little throw and go went on the end zone line just to generate a bit more forward momentum in the end. The 1-2 ran between Dorin and Liron, and it is Léonie Dorin who puts RFO back on top.
Great patience there on the offense, and Dorin getting lovely and involved in the play. Dorin's actually one of the players who was on the under-20 French mixed team earlier this year, getting 5th.
I mean, let's talk about the French youth movement, because you mentioned the French mixed team came 5th, which is in itself a very creditable result. What that doesn't tell you is that the French open side came 2nd for the 2nd cycle in a row, and the French women went one better than 2 years ago and one better than the open side by capturing the gold. They are doing something right in bringing through the young guns in France.
And RFO is continuing that work this weekend with 4 under 18 or 18 and under players on the roster here. They were actually unable to place some of their women team on the roster because they were under 16, and apparently 16 is the minimum age to participate in this event. So they had to look elsewhere for a couple spots.
And they've not exactly recruited badly. Strength in depth for RFO. Nice little toss to Kleinhappel coming forward. Watching things develop in front of him, not necessarily seeing the separation he likes at first. So now Fischer's going to take off himself, but the throw turns too early and hits the floor. RFO have managed to get Catchup's O-line to turn it for the first time. Can they take advantage? Well, not like that. Straight into the sand. Fischer with the quick pick. They're not going to amazingly able to capitalize, but he is going to dump it off and then burn up line himself. Settina delivers, and Fischer scores to make it 3s.
What a strange trend we're seeing. It's the same in the previous point where the Catchup line was able to turn the offense and get the disc back in, but we're just turning it on the first throw. And here as well, a completely unforced error on that catch, giving the disc right back to the offense.
Yeah, that is not going to please Anaïs Croussard, the RFO coach. Those of you who watched ULTI.TV's coverage of EBUCC last year might recognize that she was doing the French language commentary for us there. But now stepping out of the booth and back onto the sidelines and commanding a very exciting RFO squad. So both sides then all hold so far. No breaks as of yet, but plenty of time left in this contest. Time cap comes at 45 minutes with the score cap at 13 for the uninitiated amongst you. That bounces right into the grasp, and the first pass goes to Rollet, gives it back now to Liron. Voinesson's going to take off deep. I wondered if they would hit that. No. Instead, in the center is Dorin. Rollet. Going back to Liron. Trying to squeeze it on the sideline. The Moulemester. just bounced out of Laurent's hands. The infamous clap of doom for him. Kleinhappel, who's come over to play defense, maybe to power the offense after the turn, muscles his way into a dump position. We are going to have a stop because there's a pick downfield. Seen both sides with a couple of strange errors.
Yeah, it might be on-stream nerves. While it's super exciting to be able to share with the home front back home what you're doing on the field, it can add a little bit of extra jitters to your game, as you are maybe, hopefully not, but probably thinking, oh, everybody at home is seeing this. Am I doing well enough? I shouldn't drop it. I shouldn't drop it. Oh no, now I've dropped it.
The most devastating heckle I ever heard was the first game I ever commentated, actually, back in 2015 U23 World Championships. I'll finish this thought later as we're back in play. That's low and into the sand. It was Austria against Japan, and someone had a wide open drop on the end zone, and someone in the stand shouted really loudly, "Everybody saw you do that!" And honestly, I could see the person essentially die inside.
That is devastating.
It was so loud we had to address it on the broadcast as well. It was also very funny. I respected it. Here's Ismael Voinasson. Again, the dump slightly offline, but Laurent has time to adjust. Trying to squeeze it through with the break. Oh, that's absurd! Duran with a superb snag and gets a lot of company afterwards. I did not think Duran was going to have a shot at that. More fool me. Unreal.
She's been quietly confident on the field so far this game and just showing a little flair there. Wonderful.
Time to get the breath back then off the stoppage, and we can have a quickly look at it again on the replay as we are now back in play. Laurent. Just going to go the long way around, stretching it wide, and it's swing to win as they find Voinasson and RFO back on top.
That was a much more comfortable pickup back after a stoppage from RFO. Able to secure the swing and swing onwards into the end zone. It
can be so tricky when you're in a situation like that and you can't move before the check-in, obviously, so often your offense can get bogged down as it just puts a big old smile on your face, doesn't it?
That beautiful flying oyster.
And how do oysters fly? I'm not sure. I guess they use the shell as wings. It doesn't really matter, because however they do it, boy do they do it.
They're making it make sense.
Yeah, second goal of the game, by the way, for Ismael Voinasson. The pull from the Oysters is going to go out of bounds on the far side, and Fischer will punish them by bringing it to the brick mark.
That is always disheartening as you're churning down the field on defense to have the pull just land out of bounds. It gives the offense such an advantage.
Especially on the beach. It feels further. It might be relatively further down the field, which is important because, especially on the beach where the field is smaller, I kind of think you should be punished for not pulling it in. So Fischer with a big pump fake downfield, working with Cetina in the handler spot, trying to get more players involved downfield. Here's Maya Ortner. Sister Lena is also on the team, by the way. Cetina. Foul on the mark. And Béa Lefebvre is the player on defense, and the foul is accepted, so still will reset at 1. Fischer. Cetina in an awkward spot, so clears out to try and create a little bit of space. Fischer goes down the line and curls it into Ortner for the score. Still yet to see a breakthrough the first 8 points.
That's almost surprising because we have had the opportunities, but the D-line's just not able to get it moving enough on their offenses to make a score.
It will be interesting to see at what point, if at all, these sides kind of try to adjust things defensively. Whether you've got a zone in your pocket that you can just use to maybe if not be aggressively forcing the turn, to at least try and disrupt the rhythm.
Do you know that I was talking to RFO before the match, and they were saying that they've never convincingly started a game where they grab a lot of Ds and everyone assumes they're going to win. It's really a gradual process throughout the game that they put more and more pressure and are able to make the adjustments to get those Ds and those turns in the end.
Well, I think that shows, because even though we mentioned that they've got an equal record, 4 wins, 4 defeats, all of the defeats have been pretty close. They lost by 3 to Frisbee, by 2 to Boracay, by 3 to Korakota. Guayota is the only team that's won convincingly, and generally being able to play such really strong sides close is a good indicator of your quality. Fouquet underneath with a little toss of Wanasson. Powering downfield, that clears out the space for Fouquet on the swing, and now Salomé Khroualet. A little bit of blade, and it was slightly lofty, but Liron was well positioned. Trying to set the sack downfield. They cleared the break side space well, and it's the easy elevator backhand for Fouquet for the score.
That was a gorgeous RFO offense. Really a lot of experience on the field. We actually have 4 beach gold medalists on the RFO roster.
Yeah, of course, that famous victory out on Huntington Beach last year. Upset the USA in the semi-finals before beating Spain in the final. And I wonder how many of these faces we'll see out when we have the Beach Fours showcase game at the end of the week when France take on Spain. A game, I must admit, I'm very much looking forward to.
Same here.
I wonder if it might be the second time we see a French and a Spanish side in the mixed division that day. The ball lands in and bounces out on the far side into the Portimão banner. High release toss, sitting it towards the break side. Not a problem for Fischer. Fischer airs it out. Oh, I'm not sure about this one. Towards the far side, Klein Happel gave up a little bit of position so he could attack, and Mandinot took it away. This one, maybe a second effort, not required. Earl Anstey is there. Squeeze it past the defender to Delval. Underneath, Poulalieu. Feels like there's almost an element of adrenaline about this D-line offense. Can they get free in the phone booth? Oh, I thought they maybe had the space, but swinging it off the line is not a bad idea. Forces on the floor temporarily, and the throw was just a little bit behind. Barnaby Erlandstein made the little post box, and the disc slipped right through. Bit of a let off that one for Catchup. Klein Happel goes with the lefty to break and swing to Cetina. And now Klein Happel has to go to sand to ensure it. It feels like this game is being played in the margins ever more. Fischer to Cetina. Trying to find a downfield option. That's a beautiful throw to hit this break side space. And Ertel. And now the deep shot goes, being tracked into the end zone. And the layout as well secures from Maya Ortner to bring Catchup level again.
What great work from Catchup to kind of calm it down after that very, very frenetic defensive offense from RFO. It really brought the energy up, and Catchup just able to settle back down, take their easy options, and get it in the end zone.
Look at it again. It's well tracked.
Not an easy one.
Oh, no, because I've seen plenty of players this week get suckered in by getting too far underneath it and struggling to adjust late on. But always knew it was going to take that edge, and then the layout just puts a little bit of a cherry on top of a delectable cake. 5-5, 21 minutes on the clock, which I think tells you it's been a pretty fast-paced game. Get the feeling it might just be the singular break that wins it.
Could very well be the case. We are getting longer points, though. Those initial offenses, quick and clean, and now they're stretched out.
The sand does sap your energy. Voinasson thought he was going to go for the dish off, decided against it. Instead, he clears it out deep. The catch-up defenders adjust, and that clears the space underneath. Now it is Leron. Voinasson's going to burn all the way to that far side, trying to pass off a switch in the handler set. They are sat very far off. It frees the swing, gives the space to attack. It's still there. And De Meulemester was he was alert, he was ready, and he spares RFO's blushes somewhat.
Durand there with a very crucial little tap to keep that disc in the air for him.
I think she probably would have preferred to catch it.
It was what she was going for, but it was, I think, essential to making that disc remotely catchable.
Yeah, just slightly altering that trajectory. Have a look at it again on the replay. Because the force is far off, especially with the lefty, it opens up the angle, and you are right, that is almost perfect mat line practice. Shame we didn't catch it one-handed at the end, but in a Frisbee game, why would you? But yeah, it just alters the angle enough, the mid-air correction, to allow Tony de Meulemester to bring it in. Do we credit Durand with the assist for that?
I say go for it, yes. She put a lot of effort into that.
It's one of those where you'll say that you'd claim it. I definitely meant to do that all along, even if you don't necessarily believe it. Klein Happel. Dishing it back off. Now Satina collects the return pass. Winning the one-on-one matchup there is Ortner. Klein Happel goes for the up line. Force comes around to adjust and thus reveals the break to Satina. Now Klein Happel with the force on the floor gets the break off and finds an end zone target. It is Max Ertel in his second goal of the game to bring us level at 6s. I think what you're seeing there is the risk-reward of that big commit on the force. Because if you don't get it, you can look like a right mug.
Yeah, Dean Ned already made a couple of bits earlier on in the point, but this one, he just stayed down far too long, exposing completely that close side. Catchup had 2 targets to choose from. Very easy score for them in the end.
And only 24 minutes in, it's 6-all, and we've got a Galaxy point. It's been a real fun watch, unless maybe you're more of a defensive connoisseur. But I think it just shows that these offenses have played so well.
I think both of the defenses are getting to know the opposing O-line and starting to put on more and more pressure. Offenses starting to have to work really very hard, things having to go particularly wrong for the defense to give the offense those easy options. Yeah,
it feels like the turns have been more errors than blocks. Holle then. This will be a great time for Catchup to get the first break of the game and then receive coming out of half. Holle doesn't get the break swing off, and instead underneath is Leron. Holle just holding out an arm. Break the force to me, please. No, Leron shooting deep to no one in particular. Just trying to put it in an area. And Rolle, I think, probably had some slightly pointed words of, I know you've got that break. Why didn't you take it?
Yeah, it seemed very much the wrong decision at the time. Better to lose it deep, though, than near your own end zone, but still.
That is something, as the deep shot from Catchup immediately seeds it back. Rolle doesn't want to hang about and get it in play. Leron, this shot looks better weighted, but again slightly undercooked, and it's Fischer who's crossed over, who intercepts. It's the first time this game we've seen a side turn it over on multiple occasions. Pansy dumps back to Fischer. Pass for Voinasson on the force, but back to Fischer. Fischer breaking once more and leads perfectly the step into the end zone, and Catchup have got the break on Galaxy point. They'll receive to begin the second half. It's a 7-6 halftime lead.
Excellent work from Catchup. They put in a lot of effort there to get the turns. Threw it away quite spectacularly though on the first time going, but a much more secure offense the second go around.
Yeah, that's why you bring a player like Fischer over to the D-line in this pinch situation, because you can do that.
It definitely helps, though I think it took him a little time to adjust to the different wind direction on his first deep there.
That is a fair point, actually, that because all the offenses have scored every point, they'd all been scored in the same direction, and pretty much that means most of the players had been playing the same way throughout the entirety of the game. So yeah, it's the first time that they had to go in the opposite direction, even though it is more of a crosswind than it is upwind downwind. And having scored there, they are now receiving, and they'll be going back in the favoured direction again towards that right hand end zone as we look at it from the main camera. (7-6), one break so far on Galaxy Point to the Austrians, who are trying to get the old little 2 for none here. Back-to-back possessions without the opposition having a sniff.
They have taken Fischer out of this O point, though. Give him a little rest.
I mean, he's only got the 1 goal, 1 block, and 1 turnover so far.
Not really worth adding him. I see what you mean.
And the 5 assists. Yeah, sorry, I should have mentioned those. Here's Kleinhappel. Going into the backfield, collects the offhand from Holzner. Now the low one is a bit behind, a couple of defenders there from RFO. Dimne to pick up. Holzner try and be a nuisance on the force, but Liron, who's also crossed over, as has Ismail Voinason, excuse me. Just past the bidding defender. Oh my word, I'm not sure about the shape on that one. It worked in the end. And then that is going to float out the back from Voinason, who beats the sand in frustration because he would love to have that one back.
Very unfortunate turn from him. You would have hoped he learned from the disc he just caught that that wind is going to do exactly that to the Frisbee. Unfortunately, in the heat of the moment, doesn't quite adjust his throw.
No, and the pink Euro disc gets pushed out the back of that end zone. Holzner walks it to the front line, jacks it immediately, and Liron turn around just in time to intercept. Taking on the aggressive break is Demoulemester, and why the hell not when you can throw it like that? Bay Lefebvre makes it level once more, 7 apiece. They get an immediate break back. The problem for RFO is because they lost that break going into the half, they now need to get one more to get themselves back on top.
Pricey, but they show that they can do it at the first time of asking.
Yeah, that gives you, once you get that first break on the board, it does just give your D-line that little bit of extra confidence. And this is a heck of a throw from Dimne, the other Tony.
It's an impressive D as well, to be aware enough that the disc is coming your way and react enough to catch it. It looks very simple, but it's very hard to do.
Yeah, Dimne, another part of that Beach World side. And he's also the president of RFO. So he might, I was going to say he might have more of a vested interest in their success than the others, but you know what? I'm pretty sure everyone out there wants to succeed, to be honest.
He's just leading from the front.
Dished off Fischer, putting the inside-out shape on it. Oh, what a throw. I'm not sure whether that was the intended target or it was the other receiver streaking deep. It doesn't matter when you just lay it on a plate and lift up the cloche and serve ready to eat.
Much easier offense for Catchup. Fischer showing us why he's usually in on the offensive points.
Defender tried to close, but the only way he would have been able to get anything on that was to put in a really dangerous bid. So it's a good job that he did not. Even if he had, I'm not sure he'd have got there.
No, that was Pansy's disc all day. An emphatic spike from her to emphasize the point.
8-7, Catchup with the advantage here over RFO in this mixed round of 16 game at the inaugural World Beach Ultimate Club Championships, 20 years on from the first World Beach Ultimate Championships with the national sides, of course. The winner of this game, by the way, has the unenviable task of takes on Margarita mixed in the round of 16. This is sort of the round of 32, not quite, because the top 8 teams get buys into the next round, but that one low, the Mühlemester can't snag. A bit of a riser, there was enough pressure to stop Dor making the catch. Rollet picks up, back to Liron. Doesn't want the return pass, instead zips it past the bidding defender. They take advantage of that well, dishing to Rollet on the far sideline. He is suspiciously open to Mühlemester, and indeed there has been a pick called.
Yeah, the wind just picking up just in time to force that disc to turn from Catchup. Let's see if RFO can keep their heads and adjust for their throws.
Liron shows the backhand before running the 1-2 with Fouquet. De Mühlemester. Everything's going around the back at the moment. They're not getting anything really downfield. Although, so far, they've not really shown they need it. That one floated a little bit, but still, Liron had the position for the score. Almost like a grass-style dominator or an indoor-style weave offense there. Just clear the downfield out of the way and let the handlers go to work.
Yeah, the captain and spirit captain really showing their leadership qualities on that point.
Level once more at 8 apiece. It doesn't feel like the sort of game where one side's going to suddenly accelerate away into the distance. I realise, having said that, it will somewhat inevitably happen. Not that the commentator's curse is a thing, because it isn't. Nothing we say has any effect on what happens down there, unfortunately. Even if sometimes it does feel like it might. Lefebvre on the pull, fielded by Fischer. That one was well handled by Cetina. Now shot deep. Can it be tracked? Ertl, bang on the money for the score. A 9-8 to Catchup.
Another assured offense by Catchup, really looking very, very good in the wind right now.
This is some of Valentin Fischer, and we mentioned that he might be someone to look out for. He's only got the 7 assists, plus a goal and a block, and just the 1 turn, and when you're bearing such a load offensively for a team, to be able to keep it so clean is a remarkable thing. There was the 1 goal he managed. What a scrub. But otherwise, it has been the throwing arsenal that has really overpowered RFO so far. That throw into the center turns. Catchup can create the game's first 2-point lead. This is good coverage, though, so on a high stall, just jack it to the back of the end zone. But that is not going to be caught.
If you have to lose the disc, you might as well lose it very far away from your own end zone, and this time it takes RFO to retrieve the disc also gives you extra time to settle your nerves and get your head in the game for defense. A tactical throwaway if you must do one.
Both O-lines have played good defense when required to get the disc back, and that's why we've only had the 1 break so far. Just locking things down and forcing the error. Rollet prowls to the front of the end zone. 3 space downfield. Fouquet initiates from the center, getting the underneath and catching the riser. Vuanasono, another rising grab that is superbly stuck. That is a tough, tough grab. Liron threatens the break. Will take it at the second time of asking. Fouquet running the give-go, the little sag off into the lane, but Fouquet gets it anyway, and now she's shooting deep, looking for Rollet. Where did she come from? Snuck all the way in behind, been doing so much damage in the handler space that almost seemed to take her eyes off her going deep.
Yeah, Rollet, an exceptional player for this RFO side, and the actual captain. I missaid that earlier.
Yeah, she is a shining light for RFO, and she's guiding the disc into port there. Fouquet, she had the option underneath of Vuanason, but was not interested because she saw Rollet in space, backed herself to get it there, and Lina Ortler was left training as it's tied up at 9s. 2 goals and 2 assists now for Salome Rollet. It's nice when the little players to watch we do before the game comes good.
Yes, we're almost halfway through the tournament, so based on stats alone, you can have a better idea of who's going to be a huge contributor to this team. But it has just been very impressive to see all the work that Rollet has done already on the field, together with Fouquet and Liron. Yeah.
As well as those 2 and 2 for Salome Rollet. You mentioned Fouquet, a goal and 3 assists, and for Antoine Liron, 2 goals, 3 assists, a block, but 3 turnovers, and I'm sure he'd probably back himself to tidy that up a little bit. Kleinhappel. Low, scoop before it hits sand. Love the snap on that pump fake. Now down the line to Bart. Oh, Ertel, excuse me. Ertel to Fischer, matched up against the opposite number 13. Fischer delivers, and they have not found a way to stop him.
No, the only way to have stopped him effectively so far was for Catchup to decide not to play him on offense. That was really the point where RFO had their biggest shot to convert a break.
I mean, he has carved them open. Call him the mailman because he keeps on delivering. I say that, I would say the postman, but it doesn't quite have the same ring to it.
Nah, Fischer really not having to fish for compliments from us over here.
As if we hadn't shown enough Fischer already. That was the break that took them into half, when the one time he crossed over to the D-line. And he's just seemed to found ways to utilize his vast arsenal of throws to devastating effect.
Yeah, RFO need to put more work into shutting him out of the game if they want to break back and take the lead.
Even if he scores on you going deep, I think you say, well, that's fine, as long as we just stop him doing it with his throws. A little surprised that RFO haven't made more of an adjustment to try that already. Rollet runs the 1-2 with Liron. Now Ismail Vuanason takes off. This will hang a little bit. Oh, what a defensive play made. And the timeout called because Hildebrandt knows the value in that. Rose up and swiped it to get Catchup in position to take a 2-point lead. What a block.
What a huge block.
Let's have a breather to recover. What will Catchup Graz scheme up? We'll see when we return to the World Beach Ultimate Club Championships. Don't go.
Have you ever loved something that doesn't love you back? One More Year, the ultimate graphic novel, now available on Amazon.
Welcome back to the World Beach Ultimate Club Championships. beautiful sands of the Praia de Rocha, the venue for this, and you saw, by the way, the little ad for the for One More Year, the contested strip graphic novel. Huge shout out to Megan, not Megan, I mean Megan, who very kindly dropped a copy off for the production crew this morning. Greatly appreciated. I look forward to stealing it from them and reading it. So, Catchup off the timeout. Hildebrand got the block, and that is not what they would have drawn up. Felgic got open underneath, and it bounced off her hands. The curse of the turnout strikes Catchup Graz, and that is so unusual from Sophie Felgic, but I guess the offenses have been so good. She's scarcely touched the disc all game, and her hands may be a little cold. Vuanason leading to the end zone for the score. It's Liron with the goal. Tens.
Very lucky for RFO as well. We've seen it multiple times this game already, that just after the turn, the new offense can't string one pass together, and there they have an entire timeout to emotionally prepare, and still unable to.
I mean, this was not one of the turns you often see off a timeout, where an offense just struggles to get things in motion and they have to put up a prayer when their set play cut doesn't come off. That time they got the set play they wanted. Felgic, the throw was a little low, but she would set high standards for herself. She'd back herself to make it, and I've seen her make a lot tougher grabs.
Her entire team backed her to make it. After all, that is the play they drew up, so definitely relying on her, and unfortunately unable to meet the moment.
For sure. 10 apiece then. Cap will go on in just under 2 minutes, so it feels like whatever happens, it'll be 11-10 game to 12, unless Catchup can zip this one down the field.
RFO just took a timeout to bolster up their defensive line, feeling the time and urgency and pressure to get their breaks in now.
The Ile de Ré outfit. What have they got in mind? Just a confirmation of the gender ratio there. You see the arms out at right angles, indicating 3 female matching players at this point. Hence the pull coming from Fouquet, who they've crossed over to the D-line. In fact, they've crossed a fair few players over, because Vuanason is out there, as is Liron. This one to Fischer. Fischer with the pump of a backhand. Cetina, who's quietly been rock solid, but has had her fair shot. You know what? It doesn't matter, because Catchup finished it in the end anyway, and they did really zip down the field. So, still Cap yet to come on. I was going to say that Cetina had her fair share of fabulous throws as well. Sorry, everyone. Took me a while to put my teeth back in. And then they finished it with Fischer getting his second goal of the game.
You're just a little bit too flabbergasted by how beautiful those high-release breaks were.
Yeah.
2 crucial high-release breaks to work it down that sideline. So despite RFO's best efforts to get a turn, entirely ineffective against those breakthrows. And
this is what we said, you know, get Fischer out of the handler space. Unfortunately, when he did that, he scored. So he's been a bit of a cheat code in this one, to be honest. Catchup have had 11 goals. He's been involved in 10 of them. So that's, you know, not bad. Unless, of course, you're an RFO fan.
Then it is most unfortunate how good this man is at Frisbee.
It's rare you see a performance quite so dominant. The blading backhand pull is going to drop into the end zone. It's going to be charged down by catch-up defenders. Rollet fakes the backhand break. Liron, I thought he was maybe shaping to get a deep throw available. There was no cut. Instead, Vuanason underneath. The catch-up sideline had got quieter of late. Now they rev up, and that one was really beamed by Liron. And too much for Salomé Rollet.
Yeah, I think Liron there really wanted the deep quite a lot earlier in the point, and eventually setting for that deep throw as the turnover. There are a lot of people cutting deep, but none of them able to get anywhere close to that turn. Just too much sauce on that.
Not sure what the sauce of choice would be in the Ile de Ré.
Oyster sauce?
Sure.
It's especially gooey and murky, I think. It explains the throwing error.
I'm a bit of a fraud, to be honest. I've never even had oysters. This one always floated downfield. Good job, they've got a lot of wingspan down there with Kleinhappel, who's crossed over, and they're going to bang this one to the end zone, and they're going to break as well. Nina Pansi's third goal of the game puts Catchup up 12-10.
Energy really with Catchup Graz right now. They're hugely excited, as they should be, as they're taking their lead up a notch.
Yeah, first 2-point lead of the game. RFO now need to score 3 on the spin to win. It'll be a game to 13. And given that they've only got 1 break so far, and they now need to find 2 on the bounce, that is a tough, tough task. But the way their offense has played at points in this game, they do have the quality to do it. Of note is that every point in which RFO have touched the disc in this second half, they have turned it over. They've not had a clean possession since the interval.
Knowing that, RFO fans can go in with a little bit more certainty that even if this O-line does turn it, they will probably get it back. It's just part of the game plan to lose it once, give Catchup Graz some false hope, get it back, and secure the goal. It's
certainly, I think, an O-line that is happy to take shots because they do back their defense. The risk, of course, is that you keep giving good D-lines chances. Eventually, they will probably convert one of them.
It is a high-risk, high-reward strategy for sure, but RFO backing themselves, a very tall, very skillful O-line on the field right now.
At the very least, Fischer wasn't involved in the goal. He wasn't on the pitch, but it's not the point.
It's just strategy.
Nafts will roll the ball, and again is going to be fielded in the end zone. I think that's something that maybe RFO could look to improve, is that they've not always fielded the pull particularly well. They've done it a little bit slowly a couple of times and allowed the defenders to get their jaws begin to clamp around. Leon Torole, it's off a hand and out the side. Glorious chance for the win.
This is a very short field for Graz to finish it off.
Kleinhappel will pick up. Dream field position. Vuanason on the mark. Looking to take the first shot. What a break from Kleinhappel. And you knew that they would trust Felgic once more in a clutch position. And Catchup have knocked out RFO, and they will advance to take on Margarita Mixed in the round of 16.
A beautiful performance by Catchup Graz. Cemented there by a decisive breakthrow to bring home the victory.
Their O-line, after they got broken, did not turn it over at all. And then the 3 on the spin to win at the end of it, going from 10-10 to 13-10, just able to put the foot down late in the game as an RFO O-line that had essentially used 5-6 players the entire game, hadn't necessarily rotated too much, just ran out of juice, and it is a beautiful break from Kleinhappel to finish things off, punching into Felgic, trusting she'd get free, and she delivers the goods with the game-winning goal. Huge victory there for Catchup Graz. Have a look at the game stats for you there. 8 clean holds for Catchup compared to 3. 11 break chances compared to 4. So even though they were converting on only a marginally better percentage of the break chances, when you get that many, you don't necessarily need to be as clinical on converting them because you will just keep getting them again and again and again.
Yeah, Catchup delighted with themselves for this performance, as they should be, really able to put up the pressure at the end to break a couple extra times to finish it off fast.
Yeah, both sides will go into their little individual huddles before going into a larger spirit circle. I know that Hannah has been able to weasel someone away for a post-match interview. I'm looking forward to hearing from that, but Catchup, I think, good value for the victory. And you can see, quite rightly, they are pretty jazzed about it, and why wouldn't you be? Aside, maybe without the highest expectations and pressure on them this week, have got themselves into the last 16. Throwing it down pitch side then to Hannah Pendlebury.
I'm here with Sven Kleinhoppel. Congratulations. That was an incredible game. It was so tight, and then at the end you raced away. When did you know it was going to be in the bag?
You never really know when it's in the bag, but we kind of felt that the energy was in our favor, and just the whole team was behind it, the whole team was feeling it. And as soon as we made that second break now at the end, we were like, okay, now we're just gonna stay on it, put our foot down. We did call some tighter lines at the end to just make sure that we get through it, and it worked out, so we're super happy, and yeah, it was amazing.
Well, I mean, in terms of Austrian Ultimate, it's not really got a massive kind of reputation for being amazing on the beach. Obviously, taking down a French side at this stage in the tournament is an amazing achievement. What would you say is the credit to your success?
I think one of the things that does help us is that we know that we're not known for beach. I mean, even the Austrian Beach Championships are played in Italy because we don't have a beach. So we knew that the thing that we have going for us is that we have nothing to lose, because yeah, we didn't practice in this on the beach. We didn't practice in this roster because our club is single gender focused. But we still managed through years of playing in the same club. We did play mixed championships together, but we didn't train as much in the mixed setting. We knew that we'll just play and we'll see what we can get. And just with this energy and not having a fear to lose, I think that was really made it happen for us.
Well, what's been your favourite thing about getting to actually play with your female matching teammates rather than just sidelining them as you always do?
I think it's this sport, mixed is kind of the crown discipline, and it's amazing that you have a sport where you have to work with both genders, and because both genders in single gender they have a different play style. And the real art is putting it together on the field, playing together and finding those connections, which can be really, really tough. But through the last days, we've managed to iron out the kinks, and now we really feel like there's a groove, there's a connection, and it's just amazing. It's such a good feeling also in the team, so that really makes it a great game for us.
Well, it's definitely a good vibe and a great feeling. Do you have any messages for your friends and your fans back home?
First of all, thank you for your support. We have some amazing people which always send us their well wishes and support us from back home and here, and yeah, cheers to them. Thank you, keep up the good support, and maybe we'll keep going. We'll see what's in there to get. See you in the finals.
Well, you heard it here, folks. They're going to be in the finals at Catchup Graz, but we'll throw it back to you folks in the booth.
Thanks, Hannah. Great to be able to hear from Sven Kleinhoppel, who had himself a gain as well. Those backhand breaks were so hard to stop. You saw there, that was a key one down the line to Fischer. He was able to stretch it deep as well. That was a perfectly weighted deep shot. And then the final possession, one throw, a dagger of a break around. Felgic bang on the spot. You see the joy coursing through her veins there. Catchup with a superb victory, Ingeborg.
Yeah, Kleinhoppel, they're really crucial at key moments throughout the game for Catchup Graz. Part of that, bulking up the lines at the end of the game, really a beautiful effort. So then, it is Catchup Graz who will be advancing into the last 16. They will take on the Irish All-Stars Margarita Mixed. That'll be a hell of a contest for them as we have a look at the end of game highlight reel. Make sure you keep it tuned and locked in on ULTI.TV. Remember, all of the games this week are free, live and in posterity on our YouTube channel. So if that's something you want to support, make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. You've seen enough YouTube videos, you know how this thing works, and you might as well want to check out our Patreon as well, and just think how many more awesome games like this we'd be able to bring you if everyone was just able to chip in a little bit as well. We've got women's action coming up next in the round of 16. Jet Set Love from Belgium taking up Switzerland's Hot Mess Express before an open round of 16 later in the day as well. So,
Time just enough to get a little quick drink in before we return. Final score then here is Catchup 13, RFO 10 for Ingeborg Kylers, Benjamin Rees. We'll see you on the other side.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, ultimate.
ULTI.TV.